A few years ago, I decided to try and make a living from my camera. I had already spent a lot of money on camera and lenses, so I thought why not try to make some income out of it. This journey hasn't been easy, and I had my share of failures and learned a lot about what works for me and what doesn't. And in this video, I want to share this journey with you and hopefully give you some insights that might help you too. So let's dive in. My first photography business was product photography. I started with product photography because I thought it's something that I can start quickly from home. I built a portfolio using items I already had and bought a softbox to improve my lighting. I also took an online course about product photography and joined a lot of Facebook groups to get the skill I needed. For my setup, I use a Canon camera with a 100mm macro lens, a tripod, and a flash. Once I had about 40 photos in my portfolio, I created a website and began to send hundreds of messages to potential clients through Instagram. At first, I worked in exchange for free products, small items like jewelry or chocolates in exchange for my photos. Pricing my work was difficult because I didn't feel comfortable to charge right away. I realized that product photography requires a lot of editing, mainly in Photoshop. Now I know my way around Photoshop and Lightroom and even Premiere when I need, but I found that I didn't enjoy editing for hours every tiny detail. Fixing dust on products or try to change the proportions of something to make it look more interesting just took too much time. And working from home all day, both shooting and editing, just wasn't fun for me. I missed being outdoors and moving around, which made me feel disconnected from what I loved about photography. So after about 6 months, I decided to switch things up and I looked for a photography field that involved more movement. That's when I found architecture and interior design photography. I really enjoyed this type of work, the technical aspects, visiting to new locations and meeting new people. I built a small portfolio from my own home and opened an Instagram account just for this niche. And from this account, I reached out again to potential clients. Each project was a creative challenge, as I had to figure out the best angles to capture every space. For this type of photography, I used 3 lenses, 16 to 35mm for wide angles, a 24 to 70 for smaller spaces, and a 100mm macro lens for detailed shots. I also used 2 flashes and a tripod. However, the equipment was heavy. On shooting days, I had to be on my feet for about 6 hours, and when I got home, I still needed to edit all of the photos. It was physically exhausting for me. That said, architecture and interior design photography can be a very profitable niche. Interior designers and architects are often willing to pay well for high-quality images of their projects. I did this job for about 2 years and I made a decent income out of it. And even now, a long time after I stopped doing this, I still get a lot of requests for projects. I think this field is perfect for photographers who don't mind the physical demands. It's challenging but also very rewarding. At some point, I realized that while technically I was making money from photography, I missed taking photos that I loved. But I didn't want to give up making photography a part of my career. So I found a part-time job as a photographer in a news channel. I chose this job because I wanted to have time for my artistic photography as well. When I was a freelancer, I spent most of my time worrying about clients and projects, and I hardly had time for my own work. In the new studio, I managed the cameras, the lighting, framing, and color setups. I've been working there for the last 2 years, and in this time I sold all of my old equipment and bought the Leica Q3 for my personal photography. I'm still improving my skills and continue to learn every day. I still do some portraits jobs for clients that I like here and there, and I also started to sell Lightroom presets in my website, building a small community in Instagram and in YouTube, and I've been enjoying it more than anything that I've done before. I get to photograph, talking about photography, and share my work with people around the world. It is challenging for me to talk in front of the camera and in English, but I really like this challenge. I hope to grow my channel here and hopefully make this a full-time career, although it seems really far right now. So this is a perfect time to ask you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps me out. So for me, this combination of working part-time as a photographer and pursuing my artistic passion is a perfect combination for this stage of my life. If you want to make a living from photography, I believe that the first step is understanding your strengths, figuring out what equipment you already have that you can start with, and building a good portfolio to showcase your work. Don't take your skill for granted and know that people will be willing to pay you for portraits, events, projects, and more. Maybe at the beginning you can do some free work to get the confidence and the experience that you need, but don't do this for too long. People can try to take advantage of beginner photographers, as happened to me. I think it's important to learn from other people's experience and mistakes. It can save you a lot of time and money. I'd love to hear about your experience. Did you try to make a living from photography? Maybe share your story on the comments and you can help other people as well. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did, subscribe to the channel for more photography related content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.